welcome to the podcast. I am Melissa Matheson, and we are almost through the first week of a brand new year. 2020 is in full swing, and I'm excited to see what's next for you and what's next for me. So glad we get to be on this journey together. If you've been following along the last week or two, we have made a few announcements about a series we're doing on the podcast for the month of January. We are celebrating singles. We're talking with artists, musicians, business owners, and others who also just happen to be single. We're talking about how they are living life, building relationships, and how we can all grow together as a community of people to step into our purpose. Today's conversation is with my friend Kaylee Tuttle. Kaylee is a worship leader who has traveled the world singing and preaching the gospel, and she's only 22. She's also managed to squeeze in a little time to attend college, write music, record albums with her sister Erica, and has an ambitious life goal that she hopes to fully step into in 2020. So grab your coffee and join us at the table. We're talking about decaf cappuccinos, nations, and a word for 2020. Today on What's Next, God? All right, we are gonna roll. We always have to have these podcasts with coffee. Yeah. And most of our people are coffee drinkers. Some are not, but you are a coffee drinker.
I am a coffee drinker. That looks really good right there. Like, I love the cold foam stuff.
So I am doing the Irish cream nitro cold brew from Starbucks right now. Mm-hmm. You are doing
I'm doing did I say decaf?
Yeah, you did.
I did a decaf cappuccino. 2 Splenda stirred.
Yeah, she was
It's stirred in there.
It is stirred. So, you don't normally do decaf, though?
I have to do decaf.
You have to do decaf.
Mm-hmm. Because if
Is this decaf?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is the right thing? Okay.
Yeah, if I have calf, I'll be up all night.
So you're drinking it not for the caffeine, you're drinking it because you like the taste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is different for everybody, because everybody's like, why don't you like the caffeine? And I'm just like, I really can't have caffeine. Like, it's nothing like bad for me, but like my heart starts pounding and I can't go to sleep the next night. Yeah. So yeah.
Decaf for you.
Decaf for me always, unless it's a cold foam.
I'm kind of really digging these cold foams right now.
Huge impact on my life. Like, I love the cold foams for sure.
Who knew something? I know people make fun of other people that drink coffee, fancy coffee.
Yeah.
Starbucks coffee even. But when you're traveling, it's consistent and you know what you're going to get every time you get it. And that's kind of why I dig it. So, but usually we do coffee at home. Do you do coffee at home?
Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Like, I love the idea of doing like a hazelnut. Like, my mom has a Keurigs. So I do the hazelnut and then I do the creamer and the sugar. So that's like, and those aren't decaf. So, or those pods aren't decaf.
Right.
So I like stopped after a while because it was affecting me so much. And I was like, I just can't do this.
So I have known you, I want to say your whole life, but it's not been your whole life.
It's been a really long time.
It's been like half your life, probably.
Yeah.
So you are similar ages with my oldest daughter. Mm. So I feel like I've watched you grow up since you were little. Yeah. But you're one of my favorite people, and watching you grow up has been pretty amazing to see, just to see you and what you have allowed God to do in your life and all of these things, and that you have lived your life out loud. Like, you have not hidden or held back and have felt, I guess in young languages you would say you have felt all the feels. Like, you're good with just feeling all the feels. And if things are hard, and you say they're hard, and you go through them. And when they're great, they're really great.
Yeah.
And that can be commended, because I feel like you are the same person on the platform when you're doing worship, and as you are sitting right here with me right now.
Thank you.
And you're consistent, and I commend you, and I commend your family and your mom and your dad. You have an amazing family. But I wanted to talk to you, my friend, and catch up, because even though I've known you a long time, you've had a really busy year.
Yeah.
And I feel like we haven't caught up with some things you've had going on in your life.
Yes.
What have you been doing the last year?
Well, I think this this whole year started in January. We like hit the ground running in January with the Winterfest tour. We did January to March. It was a 9-week tour with Winterfest. And we hit like city to city for 9 weeks from January to March.
How many cities did you do?
It was 9.
It was 9 cities, so only one city each week.
Yeah. And so they were basically like ramp conferences. Like it's 3 days and it's just nonstop. It's a little different. Like the culture is a little different. But me and Eric have been doing that for about 2 years together. And
wait, let me tell people that are listening that might not know who you are. Okay. You're Kaylee Tuttle.
Kaylee Tuttle.
You have a sister, Erica.
I have a sister named Erica.
Y'all two travel. And
yeah.
Well, you're actually from a really famous family.
Yes, famous true.
Your mom is Judy Jacobs. Dad is Jamie Tuttle.
Yes.
They pastor Dwelling Place Church in Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yes.
And so ministry and travel and music has just been a part of your life always and forever. Yeah. When did you and Erica, your sister, start going off and singing on your own? When did y'all start recording?
We started writing together when I think it was like 2014.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Summer of 2014, we literally just wrote a whole album. And we were smaller. Like she was 14, I was 16. So if you go back and listen, like it sounds like a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old.
And the cover photo.
Wrote it. And the cover photo. Like
little
it
babies.
literally looks like middle schoolers. So, and it was.
But you were.
And we were. So the album came out in beginning of 2016, end of 2015-ish.
Yeah.
And we've been running ever since.
You've been writing music, recording albums, and traveling, a part of all these other events, and doing your own traveling, and people booking you guys directly. Yeah. And you've had a very busy several years on top of going to school.
Yeah. So this year, I think this year has probably been one of our busiest in a hot minute.
Yeah. So you were doing Winterfest January to March.
Yeah, we were doing Winterfest January to March. And, you know, the Kaylee and Erica travel has nothing to do with Dwelling Place. So I'm also the worship leader / pastor at Dwelling Place, my parents' church. So we did the Winterfest tour, and then we started doing conferences for my parents and for the church. And so...
and then traveling, doing our own
stuff. We, after the Winterfest tour, we kind of laid back on mine and Erica's personal travel because, I mean, it took a lot from me and her. And because, 9 weeks straight, like that's
intense.
It's really intense. And the Lord gave us a whole lot of grace. Like, I mean, it was every week we were just ready to do it again. Like we had enough strength, and we had done it the year before, so we knew what we were getting into and how to be prepared and ready and rest up and be physically and mentally, emotionally good to go, which is super important. Like if you're traveling that much all the time, and then you're like putting yourself in front of crowds that big. Like we did one Winterfest that was like 20,000 kids. That was the most we've ever done.
That's a lot.
It was in Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, and incredible experiences. But like even after the Winterfest tour, after all that, like we started getting other calls from other places that started taking us out of our comfort zone, that we weren't the frontliners. And I think that a lot of that was the Lord kind of giving us a place where we could sit back and enjoy and let somebody else be like the big person doing something while we're just having fun. Yeah. Not that we didn't have fun like being frontliners, but
it's different. You don't feel that pressure to carry the weight of whatever's happening in the service.
For sure. Like in the summer, we got a call from Travis Green's office. And we were super nervous and we had no idea how they found us. Long story short, it was actually an open door through Winterfest, which was insane. And so we started singing background for Travis, and it has been incredible. Incredible opportunities. The first night, we were in Miami, was our first date with Travis. And we had to learn all new songs. We had to learn all new parts for the songs. Like, we were just studying, cramming. And then we get there. First night was incredible. And then after, we see like an MLB star just walking backstage with Travis, Matt Kemp, who's with the Dodgers. I don't know if he's with the Dodgers anymore. I don't know. But, you know, and it's stuff like that where it's just like, Lord, why are we here? Like, what, you know, we went from being frontliners to being a background vocalist, and we love it. Like, you know, and I told somebody a couple of months ago, like, I would almost prefer it. Like, I love pushing people, and I love, you know, I like being the ones, like, being seen. Like, we love being seen, you know, not in that kind of way, but, like, you know, we love to usher that presence in, and we have that responsibility, but we also love to be that person that's, like, you know, behind Travis Green, and it's just like, you know, we're backing him up.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is, you know, I know there's some people that say, you know, I don't want a name, I don't want to be famous, I want to make Jesus famous, kind of thing. And yes, that is what this is all about. But when we can take our influence, when we have a voice or sphere of influence, because people know our name or they connect to us, and we are leading them to Jesus, it is, God is going to use that, whether you are up front and leading or if you're behind helping push. For sure. There's this thing, because even when you are out front and leading, you're still behind the Lord. You're like doing this. This isn't about for us, and you can still push, right? Because you know you are leading people to an encounter with Jesus.
For sure. Yeah.
But doing this together, I think the neat dynamic for you guys being with Travis Green and doing background is it's connecting you to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And so some people would go, well, why would you go to from frontlining to background vocals? It feels like a step down. But in the kingdom of God, it's a step up, because you're now connecting yourself to something, to a movement, something bigger than you to accomplish something greater in the earth.
Yeah.
And because there is no pride in you, because you carry like this heart to serve the Lord, because it's really about Jesus and helping people encounter him, it doesn't matter if you're up front or if you're in the back.
Yeah.
It's just, you get to be a part of something, and to have a team that you feel like you can kind of come alongside with.
For sure.
And do it. It feels like it lightens the load a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
For you. And that could be kind of what you're feeling like. This has been so great. It doesn't make sense, but it feels so good to be just a BGB right now.
Yeah.
You know, and do this.
Yeah. And it's been a good season. Because, you know, I feel like the Lord, we were talking before, just how, like, you know, I just feel like, you know, I'm entering into this season of just rest and, you know, and all this stuff. And that has been, like, this year or the end of the year more than the beginning and the middle, has just been this sense of we're just having fun. Yeah. You know, like, there's no pressure on us to do something, you know, like that. Like, Erica, for instance, like, she is head, like, under the water in school right now. Like, she is obsessed with Lee. She's in a club there. Like, that's what she feels like that she's called to right now.
Yeah.
And me, on the other hand, like, I'm trying to graduate, get out of there. And so I think it's been good for us to, you know, kind of take the hands off the reins and just be like, okay, like, we don't know what we're doing next. But we just know that we're going to take it easy, going to take it light, and we're going to have fun either way.
What are you studying in school?
So I'm a liberal arts major with an emphasis in Christian ministries. Okay. So it gives me more of a flexibility to go after the things that I'm passionate about. So,
which is what?
I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm super passionate about missions, and specifically, like, overseas missions. Like, we already talked about my mom and, like, you know, who she is, and from a very, like, young age, like, I was on my first flight when I was 6 weeks old. Yeah. So I've been traveling literally since the beginning, and I think it's just always been in me to do that. But when I went on my first, it wasn't even a missions trip, I don't think, but I went overseas for the first time. And I remember not just the first time, but like every time that I go overseas, I come back home. I was telling somebody this the other night. I come back home and I feel homesick.
To go back.
Do
you think, like, when you think of missions, do you think of, like, seeing yourself living in another nation? Or is it a kind of a come and go, like, you feel like you'll be traveling around different places?
I think sometimes, like, I wake up in the morning and just be like, I wish I was in another country today. Like, I wish I was waking up and, wherever.
Yeah.
But I think, like, on other days, I'm like, I would love to raise a family, in the States. Because, overseas stuff, like, that's hard and difficult. Like, I love overseas, people living overseas, like, that is their call. Like, that is what they are supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I always love coming back, and as much as I hate to leave, I loved coming back and imparting what was over there.
What do you feel when you think about going overseas or doing missions? What resonates most in you? Is it like building churches? Is it raising leaders? Is it working in orphanages? What is it? Mm-hmm. Clean water? Where's your thing?
Yeah. Mine isn't more like benevolence. Like, that's not, that's amazing. And I think that's what people do. Like, that's incredible. But I think my main thing is I love the fact that there are still people that have no idea who Jesus is, and we have the opportunity to bring that. And I love making him real to other people. And when I went to Nigeria when I was really young, and I think I was just impacted by how passionate people were. Like, it was like 700,000, 800,000 people from all over Africa, traveling on foot to this one specific place in Nigeria. And I remember thinking, like, even at a young age, like, I've never seen so much passion. Like, people just going after God in the States, like, anywhere. Like, it just shook me. And I remember thinking how much I wanted to be a part of bringing people to a hub of presence.
Okay.
And not even being, like we talked about before, like, not even being a frontliner, like, if I can just be a fly on the wall and somehow be a part of something like that, like, I would love to do something like that. And I don't know how, and I feel like the Lord is, starting to make connections and whatever, but he knows my heart, he knows my dreams, and that's a huge one.
Where's your favorite place you've ever traveled to overseas? Do you have a favorite?
I loved Israel. Everybody loves Israel.
Oh, yes.
But I loved India. We went to India in 2017, and I loved it there. It was really intense, and everybody got sick. Like, everybody got food poisoning, and Erica, does not do that kind of stuff. So it was hilarious. But I think I love that because we were traveling to go see people who were Christians in a non-Christian nation.
Yeah.
And to see people being so passionate about, the Lord, where it wasn't even allowed, was incredible. Yeah. And we were able to go to India, and then we were in India for like 10 days, and then we went to Dubai for like 4 or 5 days, and it was incredible.
I want to go to Dubai.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, we had the best lasagna that you would like. The biggest mall, the biggest everything. It was like a breath of fresh air after India. So
yeah, completely different.
So
environments.
Different. 2 different places.
Even the same.
Yeah,
I could see that. When I look at pictures, so I love nations as well. And it's that Psalm 2:8, ask and I will give you the nations. I'm like, God, give us nations. I want nations. Like, I love cultures, and I love people and diversity, and learning about traditions, and even if I don't understand them or agree with them, but just knowing and learning, like, there are people on the other side of the world that just think completely differently than we do here in the United States. And that is interesting to me. But in all of that, God is still the same God
here
as he is there. So even there is that difference in culture or in language or tradition.
Yeah.
We still have the same God.
For sure.
And so I could imagine you as a worship leader being in these other nations. And I was going to ask you if you speak any other languages, but you almost don't need to when there's the Lord and you're just worshiping God, and then you can worship God with other people, even if you don't speak the same language.
Yeah.
But do you speak any languages?
No, I do not. I took a Japanese class in college a couple of years back.
Here in Cleveland?
Yeah, at Lee. It was like the worst experience I've ever had. I came out of that class not being able to say much.
Anything. Oh.
So it was brutal. And I passed. We'll just say that, like I just passed. But I'm about to start taking Spanish classes. So that's just the easier route to take, I guess. I wanted to take like Hebrew and Greek and all that stuff that everybody talks about.
Do you think you will?
I don't think so, because everybody that I've talked to, even my dad has just said like it's incredibly hard. Because like I think somebody told me like on the first day of class, a professor wrote a Greek thing on the board, and like just immediately started talking in Greek and like didn't talk any other language the entire class, and everybody's just sitting there like so I was like, that's not my cup of tea, it's not my cappuccino, decaf cappuccino, two stirred, like I just can't. So yeah, so I just kind of refrained from that. I'll just get a translator.
There you go.
That's
there
it.
You go. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they say if you immerse yourself fully into a culture, you can pick up the language pretty quickly, easier than if you tried to figure it out on your own or take a class.
Yeah.
To just get in. So 2020, a year of rest for you, being intentional about rest. And what does rest look like for you? Is rest like, sometimes rest is inactivity for people. Sometimes rest is saying no. What does rest look like for you?
I think rest is not like a physical thing to me, like, just laying on a couch, like that's not rest to me. Of course, I mean, it is. But rest to me more is, just believing in what I've heard from the Lord, and
that's good.
Yeah, being intentional about just believing promises. Because I think when we start striving, it's harder to see the big picture and see and hear what he has to say. And I've done that a lot for the past 2 years. And just to be honest, so...
You can be honest.
Yeah. But that's like where I want to be in 2020. I told the Lord yesterday, actually sitting on the ramp stage, I said... I'm tired of saying that I'm going to start doing it and telling people I'm going to enter into a rest season. Like I'm tired of saying that. Like I'm actually going to do it. And I told the Lord, like, I really want people to tell a difference in me rather than them asking me if I'm good now. Like, like or not even I'm good now. Like they have to ask me how am I doing. Like I just want them to be able to tell like I'm good,
Yeah.
And I feel like 2020 is going to be a lot of just me and the Lord just sitting back and relaxing, chilling. And I think that it's not going to be just a seasonal thing. Like I think that 2020 is going to be like literally a new decade.
Yeah,
like a new beginning for me.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. Like it looks like graduating college. Like
okay.
Looks like that.
Oh, that's right. You have one more year left.
Got 1 more year left. Looks like graduating college. Seeing what that entails. Seeing what's next. And I don't know about traveling. I don't know anything. We don't know anything right now, Mm-hmm. But we're just following the Lord and we're having fun, like I said before. So
you're 21 or 22?
I'm 22.
22. So you're getting to an age where you're growing, mm-hmm. and you're not a child anymore.
Oh no.
You're an adult.
Yes.
Finishing college, stepping further into adulthood. How does that make you feel? Do you get nervous when you think about growing up, because I mean, your family's always going to be your family.
Yeah.
But whenever, so let's just say God says, hey, I want you to go to Nigeria for 6 months. Like, does that make you nervous or does that make you excited?
No, I get really excited about those kinds of things because I don't know. Like there's an expectation in me that it's just like I just know that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I've worked really hard to get to a place where I feel comfortable enough to spread wings. And it's been a lot of process with my family, with my own self, like coming to grips with myself and coming to grips with the Lord and friends and all this stuff. And I don't think that I'm ready yet because of all of the things that I know that I have to do before spreading.
Yep.
But I can feel myself like getting ready for it. And I think that I'm like currently in places right now where I'm not going to be alone. Like I know that I won't be alone. Like I'm going to have people alongside of me that are going to help me and push me. And I have a great family. I have great friends that are behind me and, you know, have already told me like, if you're going to the nations, like we're raising money for you, like, or if you want to go, like we're going to help you, or if you want to stay here, like we're going to help you. Like everybody's just pushing me just to do what I feel like I'm called to do, feeling like what Kaylee wants to do, what my dreams are.
Yeah.
And I'm super blessed to be around those people.
I mean, you guys travel together, you minister together, you do everything together.
You do everything together.
You do literally everything together.
Yeah.
But there is, apart from that, there is like a unique assignment on Kaylee's life. Like God has a purpose and a plan for Kaylee.
Yeah.
And God has a purpose and a plan for your sister Erica and for your mom and your dad. Like everybody has their own unique assignment, their own unique giftings from the Lord to fulfill a purpose in the earth that only you can fulfill. And sometimes we want to think that in order to see that happen, we have to like separate ourselves and go, okay, I need to go quote unquote find myself, or I need to go away for a while and do my own thing. But really what you're saying is you have family and community that are with you and going, we see you and want you to fulfill the call of God on your life. We want to help you do that.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it looks like in the kingdom of God for Kaylee to find her identity, her purpose in what God has called her to do within the context of healthy family and community. Yeah. And I want to encourage people who feel like they have to like spread their wings and they have to like run away, or I can't wait to get out of my parents' house or whatever. It doesn't look like that. It can look like people coming alongside and go, what is the call of God on your life? I want to help you fulfill that.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I mean, I'm 22. Like, I'm already growing up. Like, you know, 3 years ago, I was 19 and I'm still living in my parents' house, which I love. Like, you know, don't have to pay rent. Like, not yet. Like,
and
they haven't made me yet. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But, like, I'm still I almost said a teenage girl. Whoa. I'm still a young woman, and I have things like, I mean, I want to move out. Like, I want to have a boyfriend or a husband, or I want to do my own thing. And I think that we get mixed up like in my culture where it's just like, I want those things, I'm going after them right now. And in the kingdom, like, yes, like he encourages you, the Lord encourages you to go and do, you know, but he's also a God and a father of process.
Yes. And order. Yes.
And order and patience. And sometimes like it sucks because you're just like, Lord, like, I was supposed to be married 2 years ago, but, you know, in my own plan. I'm just kidding.
So are you dating anybody right now?
I'm not.
We're not.
I'm not completely.
But you had a plan, maybe? You just alluded to a plan. Well, like you thought you'd be married by like 23 or
24. Like I wanted to like be married. I mean, I'd say I wanted to, like it's past, but like I would love to be that in that in that range of age. My mom was like 36 when she got married.
She
40
was
when she had me. And so, and she knows, like, me and Erica both were just like, Mom, like, we say yes to the call of God, but we just don't think that's us. Like, we just don't think that's gonna be us.
Did your mom plan on that? I need to really ask her that. I need to bring her. But like, did she think she wanted to wait till she was 36, or is that just how it happened?
I'm not really. I don't know if she wanted it to be like that. I was talking to her about this the other night, actually. I was like asking her like about her and my dad, because I'm going through this situation right now with like a little relationship kind of, and it's so hard for me to be patient. Like I'm learning patience right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's hard for me to be patient. And so I was asking her about her and dad, and they dated for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they dated for 5 years and were engaged for, I don't know how long they were engaged, but it was a longer period.
Yeah.
And, my parents are interculturally married. So my mom is full-blood Lumbee Indian and my dad is full white. And y'all can't see me, but I am also fully white. So
we'll post a picture of you.
Yeah, I got all the white in the family. Erica got all the dark. So growing for them, I don't want to make them sound old because they are not old.
They're not old.
They're not old, but like back when, they were, in a relationship getting married, my mom had to think a lot about the culture she was raised in, the culture dad was raised in.
Have you ever brought somebody home to meet your mom and dad?
Yeah.
That you've dated?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I can remember, like, actually, I remember, it must have been, like, there was one specific guy that I brought home, and my dad hasn't liked any of them.
Okay.
Like,
to all of y'all who might be listening.
Yeah, like,
we're sorry, but he didn't like you. Pastor Jamie didn't really like you.
Well, I think he liked them, but like,
not for you.
Not for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There is a difference in that. Let me clarify that.
Huge difference.
That's huge. And even in dating relationships, if a guy and a girl doesn't work out, it's really not something about you. It's just that wasn't the right fit for you. You know what I mean? And don't take that on personally, that rejection. Yeah. So they just weren't, your dad knows you, and they just were not a good fit for you. Yeah. When you knew that, how did that make you feel? Like, were you immediately, okay, well then I won't date them?
Yeah. We had talked about before, like, my family is they're my best friends. Yeah. And I can remember actually like bringing home one guy, and my mom fell in love with him, like loved him so much. And like, he left the house, we hadn't really had like a real first date, like he was just hanging around and stuff. And I brought him home just to hang out, and he leaves, and mom like comes in to me, babe, he has such a call of God in his life, I just love him so much. And even like after we ended things, I just wish you would go back to him. Like, he is just so precious. I was like, Mom, there was like so much wrong. Like, no. But they like, my dad, even with that specific guy, I remember dad texting me and being like, hey, I know that you really like him. Like, let's sit down, talk about it. And he was super sweet about it. And like, dad, with both mine and Erica's relationships, like, dad brings him in, oh, he's really nice, he's really sweet, but as soon as it's over, he's like, I never really liked him. Like, so I think some of it has to do with the dad thing, and then some of it has to do with, my dad is super keen in discernment. Like, he knows when somebody walks in the door and it's just not right. Yeah. So I trust his judgments a lot, but like, when he tells me stuff like that, it relieves me, because it's like, I made the right decision, because every time he would tell me that, it was after I would have ended things, or he would have ended things, the guy would have ended things with me. Mm-hmm. And I would come home like upset, and he would just be like, babe, I knew like it wasn't right. And like, okay, like, yeah, I know it wasn't right, but
it still hurts.
It still hurts for sure. Yeah. And, and you have a crying moment, and it's sweet and all that stuff. But even after that, like, dad will just pick me up, brush me off, and be like, I know there's better. Like, there's going to be better for you. And then that causes this, like, excitement, where it's just like, okay, this guy was great. There were some things that, you know, they were non-negotiables for me.
Yeah.
But there's better, you know.
Did you date in high school? When did you start dating?
I don't think I dated a lot in high school.
Okay.
I started dating more. I would have used to say that I dated in high school because I would have said that prom dates counted. And somebody told me, like, you know, that doesn't count. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But I started.
I'm actually a fan. I'm going to interject one, maybe because I'm a mother, but I'm actually a fan of high schoolers not dating.
Yes.
That's an unpopular opinion. Now, I'm not judging.
No, yeah.
I'm not judging high schoolers that do date and or parents that's a decision they make for their family. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But for me, I am A-okay that my children don't date in high school. Mm-hmm. Like, I just feel like they have too many other things to worry about.
Yeah.
Than trying to navigate a dating relationship.
Yeah.
So, period.
I definitely feel that. Like, I know maybe 2 or 3, like I could probably name 2 or 3 right now that they got married after high school, or they're married now. Like, they just got married and they were high school sweethearts. But other than that, like, Erica dated more in high school than I did.
Okay.
But like, my type of guy was not at high school. So, yeah. And I just, I matured really early. Like, I just, my personality was just very, you know, chill and relaxed, and, you know, and they're just going through all their little stuff, and I'm just like, no, like, I'm not doing this. So, but I really started kind of dating in college, which I was telling somebody the other night, like, I prefer dating over just like, you know, let's just, you know, let me explain this. I don't just walk up to somebody and be like, let's go on a date, just to some stranger. I like to get to know the person, the guy, before I actually go on a date. So we're like talking, hanging out in groups, getting to know each other separately from ourselves. And then I like to just go on a date with him and then go from there. Yeah. So that's my process. I don't even know if you can have a process dating, but
I think it varies depending on the situation.
Yeah.
And then just plan to be surprised, because you never know. I mean, you could meet your husband on a blind date.
That's true.
And like, that's out of your box right now. That's out of your process right now.
That's super true.
And like, you could have somebody go, I got somebody I want you to meet.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah,
I know. Hey, there's somebody I think you should meet. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And it worked out.
Go Dave.
Yeah.
That's it.
So there are, you just never know what God's going to do. But you have a desire in your heart to be married. Okay,
Very
wait.
true.
I got to tell everybody why we're talking about this. Because it's January. We're doing Celebrating Singles.
Oh, great.
This month. Yep. So kind of hand selected some single people that I know that are really thriving and operating in wholeness in so many areas of their life, to come on and talk about them and what they're doing and how they're doing it. But then I also wanted to talk a little bit about dating. Like, I feel like you could write a book of wisdom for people, because I imagine you've seen quite a lot and you've heard quite a lot. One as a college student, and 2 traveling the world like you have. Give me some dating wisdom for 20-somethings.
Okay.
Your do's and don'ts. Do you have a do's and don'ts list?
I think I have a couple do's and don'ts. One thing that I always do before, and maybe this, like, maybe it's good, maybe it's not good, it's just something that I always do. I always pray before I go on a first date. And maybe that's over spiritual, but I do, and I do it on purpose, because, you know, I want to be with the right person. You know, just you know, it's just how I was raised. And
even if you're just having like coffee with them and stuff.
Oh no, nothing like that.
Oh, like a serious,
like a serious,
oh, this might be something,
this may be something.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, and I pray, like, Lord, if there's anything that I need to know about this person before moving on, reveal it. Like, you know, just go for it. And like, literally almost every time something has happened.
I was about to say, nothing's worked out yet. So no, God is answering your prayer.
Something has happened, some form or fashion, every time. Even if, like, I remember one situation I prayed that before I went on, and it was like the worst date I've ever been on. Because like this guy, I don't want to go into detail because he may be listening.
He may be, but we won't say names.
We won't say names. But I went on the date, and literally the entire time it was like he was just telling me his entire business, like all of his business, things that he was currently going through, and all this stuff. So I was like, I can't. Like,
all right. So what are we talking about on first dates?
Like where we go, or
no, what when you're on a first date?
About?
What's appropriate conversation? Give me some boundaries. What are we talking about?
I prefer not to go into super spiritual things.
Okay.
I don't want to know that person as like, okay, I'm going on this person because they're super spiritual. Like, that's not what I want to do. I think that's super important. To me, that's huge. But like, I don't want to get into like, I don't want our whole date to be like, just tell me your testimony. Like, I love testimonies and I think they're incredible. Like, and I went on a kind of date and I told the guy before, I was like, I don't want to talk about our testimonies. Like, just if that's okay. And he was like, that's totally fine. And then I get there and I'm enjoying myself so much. And I wanted to know what's going on in his life. And I wanted to know what the Lord had done. So I was like, okay, just tell me your testimony. Like, it would, and I think it's just super important to, talk about those things in the future, because but I don't know, I'm a shoe head. Like, I love talking about shoes. I love talking about like dreams and things that person wants to do. I think that's super important. I love talking about their family, like, what their interests are, and I don't know, just casual conversation.
Yeah, that's a good casual conversation.
Yeah, usually like before like my date with a person, I would have liked to like have been talking to them for a while just to like start to get to know like foundational things about them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go on a date with a stranger.
Right.
So I would have hoped like when I went on this date that I kind of know who I'm with.
What is a good first date? Is it like go like coffee, or do you want like dinner, or like go bowling? What's a fun first date?
I've had different first dates. I've had several that were just coffee, and then I had one really good date one time, and like we went to go eat tacos, and we went to go to the arcade, and like I love like games, like I'm a nerd, and I think that it's super fun to like get to know somebody's competitive side and have fun in that area. So we like did tacos, coffee, and then we went bowling, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
But I like to do stuff like out of the ordinary. Like, I just, it's typical for somebody to let's just go get dinner. Like, that's fun, and I'll do that eventually. But like, I like to see like the side of the person that nobody else may really see, or like, I like to bring out that fun child in them where it's like, okay, this is who you really are. And this is what you look like when you're like really having fun.
Yeah.
And
not when you're trying to post for social media.
Yeah.
Not when you're trying to be cool in front of people. Yep.
Yeah. My parents' first date was on the golf course. And my family loves to golf. And so I think it's just in me that, and they also have a hilarious, like, they always have fun. My parents do. Yeah. And that's another thing that I love about them is that, they're not serious all the time. Like, they have a time and place where they're serious and where
oh yes they do.
Yeah, yes they do.
Oh
for
yes
sure.
They do.
They have a time and place when they're serious, and they have a time and place when they're fun and we're like laughing, and
they do a lot of stuff together. Like, didn't they just like work in a garden and do stuff in the backyard over the summer?
They bond over yard work. They're at the beach right now. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I think as long as there's healthy conversation, and I think one thing I love about a date is that, or I try it, if things start getting too serious, I'm like, let's just, talk about that later.
Yeah.
And I think that it's super important to have those kind of boundaries because, you don't want to go on a date and have a second date with a person that's, the first date was like dull and depressing and sad, and and it's just, you want to go on a date with somebody that's fun, and that's the whole point of it.
Where are you meeting people? How are you, where are these first dates coming from? Just here in Cleveland?
Yeah. So a lot of I say like a lot of them, like I've been on a lot of dates. Like no. The dates that I have been on, let me rephrase. Some of them like came from Lee.
Okay. Yeah, your college, Lee
University.
University.
My college, Lee University. Yes, I'm a senior. Praise God. Some have been at Lee. Some of them have like I've met them on the road, and they were closer to Cleveland. And they would travel, or we would travel back and forth and see each other and you know, talk like that. Some of them have been long distance, and that was harder. But I would prefer them be closer because I'm really into love languages. I'm really into Enneagram.
Okay.
So I like super pay attention to that. Super quality time.
Super quality time.
Top.
So you need them in person.
I need them in person. And
quality time.
Quality time. Acts of service is at the bottom. Physical touch and gifts are the same. And I'm quality time, words of aff. And then physical touch, gifts, acts of service.
Gotcha.
So, and I'm an Enneagram 7. So, like, I am...
You are fun.
I have to have quality time. I have to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I can't, like... I don't know. Maybe some advice, girls. It's just, like, I just can't text all the time. You know, and maybe that's just my own. I've learned that over the years where I cannot tell you if I like a guy over text or over social media. Like, I would prefer to have coffee with you, be in person. Don't tell me how you feel about me over text. Don't tell me how you feel about me on a phone call. Like, tell me in person. Be real with me. I need to see your face.
Okay, so this has come up in several episodes, but my friend Laura teaches a communications class to ministry school students, and she gave me the statistic. Are you ready? Only 7% of our communication is vocabulary.
What? That's insane.
The rest of it is our tone of voice and our body language. Only 7% of the way that we communicate, because we got to talking about this, about meeting people online or texting, and that was her thing. She said, you cannot get to know anybody through text, social media, email. So you saying that, I'm like, yeah.
No,
you can't figure out.
I hate it.
But you can't learn who a person is,
right,
or who they really are.
Right.
Or build a relationship.
Yeah.
With just words.
I know. And that, like, now, when I was in middle school, like, if a guy would flirt with me on the phone, like, I would, oh my gosh, just lose it. Oh my God, you're so sweet. That's so much. But, like, now that I'm growing, like, I'm getting older, it's like, it's not appealing to me. Like, when, like, a guy, I mean, nobody lately has just been like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty over text. And it's sweet, but it's like, it doesn't mean the same to me, you know?
Yeah.
I remember this one guy, it was so awkward. We were at, I'm not going to name it because, you know, we were at this church and I was leaving and this guy comes running outside and he was like, I just want you to know that you are the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life, and I want your number. And I was like, first of all, I was like, who are you? Second of all, I'm like very uncomfortable right now. Third of all, yes, I'll give you my number. Like, you
still gave him your number.
I still gave my number because, like, it was just in that moment, like, it was like I have never had that. You know, had somebody like literally pursue me like that in person. Was like, you know,
so interesting.
Chase me down and, you know, tell me that.
Do you have any rules like for first dates, like I'm not holding hands or anything like that?
Oh yeah, if my dad were here, he'd say a lot different. He told my mom on the first date that he was in love with her and wanted to marry her.
Yeah, but they were in their 30s.
No, I don't know. He was like my age when he like went on a date with my mom.
That's right. I forgot he's younger than she is.
He's like 7 years younger than my mom.
Oh, he was smitten.
Oh, he went for it. Yeah. But usually like on the first date, like I don't really like doing that kind of thing.
It gets in the way. It kind of distracts you from.
Yeah. Well, I have a confession. So like I've never held a guy's hand yet.
There you go.
And haven't kissed anybody. Haven't kissed a man. And I am both, I take pride in it, kind of.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like want like that, you know, super, I don't want to get involved like that unless I know that like I'm going to start like really being in a relationship with this person. Because I feel like that's really sticky sometimes.
Yep. Creates a soul tie of sorts.
Yeah.
You know, the physical part of relationships, as well as not having good emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
Because that physical can kind of sometimes accelerate the emotional connection that you'll have with somebody before it's time. And so
Yeah.
I think you are using wisdom.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not like a, you know, like a stiff arm to guys. Like, I mean, I'll give them a sweet little hug and all that stuff.
But there just hasn't been the right one for you yet.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that like I've been in that place where I'm just like, I'm just going to reach over and just, you know, I've been in that place before, but, you know, I catch myself because I don't want to give them an idea that, okay, this is moving like really fast. And I usually like to take things kind of slow because I want to get to know the person before anything gets like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll be somebody that you'll just be friends with for a while until you start getting comfortable, and then the idea might start warming up to you like, oh, you know what? I mean, I think he's always going to like you, and you're going to know he likes you, and it may take you a little while to warm up to the idea, but here's the thing. You are so worth the wait, and you are worth being pursued. I mean, I could tell when you just said that, look, I'm going to cry a little bit. Like, that's a desire in your heart to be pursued. God put that there in you.
Yeah.
And don't settle for less than that. Like, whoever he is, he will jump over fences and whatever he's got to do, you know, to pursue you. And you're going to know, like, you're going to feel that in your spirit, like, this is what, you might not know what you want, but like when it happens, you'll be like, this is what I have been wanting, and this is what I have been desiring. You are an Enneagram 7, but I had a thought, because 7s don't really like confrontation.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But if my question is, and this may even apply to like your sister or other friends, have you ever had anybody close to you in a relationship that you knew was not healthy for them? And if so, were you able to talk? Did you feel like you needed to talk to them on that? What did that look like?
I'm a 7 wing 8.
Okay. Oh, so there's your 8. There you go. Okay.
I'm a 7 wing 8.
So how do you know when you say something and when you don't? Because I have a feeling there might be some people listening that in their friend group, they're seeing some unhealthy relationships. And I feel like in a community, that is the safest place for you to date or meet people or build relationships. And it needs to be a safe place for people. But I think there might be somebody listening. They're seeing a friend or two in an unhealthy relationship, and they're wondering, do I say something or do I not?
Yeah.
Where's that line for you? Why would you say something to one friend but not to another?
Yeah. The only reason, like, and Erica will probably listen to this, but the only reason why I didn't really say anything to Erica was because she was my sister. And you don't want to cross certain boundaries because, you know, like there's been situations even where I was dating a guy Erica didn't like, and she kept her mouth shut. That sounds like really intense. She didn't say much because she knew that like, if she would have said something, like it would have hurt me and it would have brought like some kind of division in between me and her.
Yeah.
But I think like, first of all, I think that it's super important to know how close you are to that person. Like, I wouldn't just go up to somebody that you don't agree with and just be like, yeah, this is not right. You know, because you don't know the entire situation. But I think when you have somebody, like, for instance, like this person I was just talking about, like one of my best friends, I like had walked through it with her. Like even when they started dating, like she would tell me everything and like would get all excited and tell me things that was going on. I would be excited for her and it was really awesome. And like, you know, we're all having fun. And then one day he just, you know, flips the switch. And that's when I was just like, you seriously need to be careful because he went from this to this.
Yeah.
And that's really important. And I think that in those moments, like it's super important to use wisdom. And like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'll straight up tell Erica like, hey boo, like, you know, you need to be careful. And Erica is actually very secretive, so a lot of us don't even know she's talking to a guy until they start dating. So we have no idea who he is. And I
think that's part of her personality. It's almost like
absolutely.
She needs to kind of feel it out first because she doesn't want to be influenced by other people's thoughts or opinions. Like, she needs to be resolved in how does she feel about this before she presents it to people in a way.
And Erica's Enneagram 1.
So, that's me. Yeah. This is why I understand her.
Erica's Enneagram 1. So as much as 7s are not really confrontational, like I feel like 1s, like they're just, Erica's very confrontational. Like, she'll go up to somebody and just be like, this is how I feel about you and you're not treating me right. Like, me and her had a conversation about a boy that she was talking to, and she was like, I need to just read you all these texts that I sent him and, all this stuff. So I'm like reading all this stuff, and I was like, I would never say that to somebody. like I would never do this. And she has the ability to work it out. And so, if there's ever something going on, I may give her some advice and be like, hey, this is, but at the end of the day, like, she's going to literally make her own decision about it.
Yeah, I think maybe even part of you were talking about the level of relationship that you have with people. I think there's some people that you may not know how strong they might be, and you can see maybe them being weak in an area, and they're not recognizing some of the red flags.
Right.
Whereas somebody like your sister that you're around, this isn't going to last. When it ends, then we'll be able to kind of process it out together. Obviously, and this is not Kaylee or Eric or anybody that we're talking about situation, but obviously if somebody is being physically abused, emotionally abused, like there's obvious abuse, you need to say something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's it, non-negotiable.
Yeah,
when people are being mistreated in any type of relationship, male or female.
Yeah.
So I've known some men that have been treated poorly by women, and I'm like,
sure, that's
not okay.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
Yeah, I've been in kind of those situations, like, where somebody was being, I don't know if it was like emotional abuse, but it was like on the brink of that.
Yeah.
And
a little manipulation.
And, a lot of confusion. And that's where I confronted my friend. I was like, you need to get out for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what 2020 is going to look like for you.
I am too. I really am. It's going to be fun.
So not a lot of traveling as much. We're going to finish college. And graduate in December and have our degree. And then it's like, what's next?
Maybe go on a date. I don't know. We'll see.
You might not even go on a date in 2020.
We'll see, yeah.
How exciting would this be? Will you text me and tell me when it happens?
I will. I really will. Because this has been fun. I really love this.
Yeah. I like it because it kind of just gets people to thinking about.
Yeah.
And we've been saying this a lot too for 2020, but we're in the Hebrew year 5780.
Yeah. 5780.
Yep. That 80, the Hebrew letter for 80 is symbolic of the mouth. Yep. And so when we start talking about things in 2020, I think we're going to see some shifts in some areas of our life.
Yeah.
Even you getting to talk about missions and stuff. I'm like, what did that just unlock in the spirit for you to talk about that?
Yeah.
For your life.
It's true.
And so to have you come and talk about dating and singleness and missions and graduating college, I think you've got a very busy year ahead of you because you just talked about it all and just put some stuff out there in the atmosphere. So we'll see what happens.
Can I say like one more thing?
Yeah.
This is just something that was on my heart even before I came in here. Just some advice about, relationships is that I told the Lord a couple of years ago, I was like, Lord, before I get in a serious relationship, like I want to be whole. Inner wholeness. Because I heard somebody say one time, 2 whole people equal a whole marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on this process of just getting all the residue out, getting healing, getting everything I needed out. And I would just give advice like to just work on yourself even before pursuing somebody else or being the one being pursued, have enough wisdom to be like, I'm not ready for this yet. Because I think when you start dating somebody and then you realize, okay, this person isn't super, they need a lot of healing. Like even the friend that I was talking about, like he needed a lot of like inner healing before he went into a relationship. And I think that every time I go on a date, I'm like, I'm always super proud that I can say like, I have a lot of healing in this area, or I can help you in this area because I have healing. So it's just a snippet. I know that was a kind of serious note to end on, but I think it's super important.
It's so important. Yeah, and checking your heart, going, why am I doing this? Am I needing affirmation from people right now because maybe I'm just having a bad day, and you're leaving yourselves open to things you normally wouldn't. And making healthy decisions.
Yeah. And I'm still working on it. Like, I'm not perfect.
We all are.
We all are. All right, good.
So, yeah. Thanks for coming and talking to us.
Hey, I loved it. Love you guys.
Love you. Sometimes when I talk with Kaylee, I forget that she's only 22. But wow, what a wealth of wisdom she just shared for people of all ages. And what about that word concerning no more striving? That was amazing. There is a place of true rest in the presence of God where we do not need to strive or perform, and just knowing that helps me breathe a little deeper, knowing that God simply just wants me to be, just as I am, right where we are. Hey, if you missed it on my social media recently, I'm working on a new 2020 vision board for my office, and I want to include your name and one big thing you're believing to see happen in your life this next year. It can be a business you want to launch, getting married, buying a house, writing a book, it doesn't matter. Find me on Instagram or Facebook under the name Melissa Matheson and send me a message or leave a comment under the post I've made about 2020 vision. That's Melissa Matheson. Math, like 4 + 1 = 5, I before E, son, S-O-N, as in my 17-year-old son, whose new favorite toy is an extra long shoehorn he got in a Christmas stocking. And guys, I'm not even joking. Hey, we've also got a new Facebook page for the podcast you can go like as well. It's called, you guessed it, What's Next God Podcast. This will be the hub for all things podcast, so go look it up, like the page, and invite your friends to like the page as well to help us spread the word. Friend, we'll be back here on Wednesday. I'm having coffee with my friend Sean, who is an Enneagram 3 and is also a chef with his own catering business. I'm saving you a seat, so come join us as we sit around the table, have a cup of coffee, and talk about what's next, God.